Joe Volpe, publisher of Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian language daily newspaper. On behalf of Go Live TV, Corcan Media Group, I'm here today on Law and Reality, especially as it relates to immigration. And of course, I have with me an interviewee that people know as an expert in immigration issues, none other than Richard Borax.
Sure.
You've been at this for 40 years.
More than 40.
And so it's a time.
And I learned nothing, Joe.
It's a timely, but you know, whoever's going to watch this has got to learn something. Otherwise, we can't do this.
Yeah.
But you know what, Richard? This seems to be kind of timely because there's a couple of things that are going on in the country. One of them, of course, is the issue of government and governance, and you know how government makes decisions on law and the reality.
Yeah.
And second issue that's developing is some of the people that you're associated with, the Undocumented Workers Committee, the evangelical pastors that preach in Portuguese language and Brazilian culture,
English also,
and English, and in Caribbean countries.
Absolutely,
they're moving.
Good people.
Well, all of them. I've met some of them. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. They're good. They are planning a demonstration at Queen's Park this Thursday. That's the day after tomorrow.
Joe, they're planning it, and if I could put in a plug here, and this is some of the things that they're going to be talking about.
So I'm so happy that you brought props.
Well, I'm sorry, Joe. I sprung them on you, and I know you don't like it, but I'm a low-class guy, so there we are.
No, but you know, one of the issues that you're talking about here is, of course, that the main issue is that they want equal rights, stop deportation, stop discrimination, and here's a word that I hadn't heard for a while. They're promoting an amnesty.
Well, Joe, let me tell you.
Well, an amnesty, but just before you tell me, an amnesty for all the people who are here without papers or whose visas have expired. Is that right?
You know, Joe, let me tell you, I've been lifelong opponent of amnesties. I don't like amnesties. Amnesties implies that you're going to go wholesale. Everybody gets a kick the can to stay here. Now, that's not exactly...
In other words, all the people who don't deserve to be here get brought along. It's like the high tide. It lifts all boats.
Yeah.
The people who don't deserve to be here get here because the ones that deserve to be here have actually earned the right
so
to stay.
This is not going to be an 86 Moroni-type amnesty. That's not what we're asking for. We're asking that everybody be allowed to apply to show and prove that they're successfully economically established under existing laws.
In other words, they have a job.
Yeah. Basically, we're not asking for an amnesty to take us out of the law. We're asking for an amnesty where the government would be obliged to actually enforce its own laws. And that brings us to the crux of the issue.
Yeah, but let me interrupt you there. You know, if the government were to apply its own laws today, given the number of people to whom this would apply, it's a huge, huge cost. My understanding is that there's over 1 million people who are here outside the parameters of the Immigration Act.
But what is the cost of not processing these people? 99% of these people don't pay income tax. And it may
that they know of, but they pay taxes. They're not all getting paid cash.
Many of them are paid cash. Very few pay taxes. The ones who are
that means, you know, like I don't want to pick on you for a moment, but that means that anybody who's working for cash is employed by an employer who is avoiding payment of taxes.
Joe, when you were minister, you actually addressed this issue. We did an amnesty for the employers also, because these guys are also breaking the law.
And when they break the law, they're liable to a $50,000 fine and 2 years in jail.
What gets us back to consequences. Now,
but that's a consequence, isn't it?
That's a consequence, and people understand when SNC-Lavalin, and I read your article, that's going to be out tomorrow.
Thanks for scooping me.
Oh, well, why not? And it's good. You're the first media guy to actually write about the power and money reality of SNC-Lavalin, how much money has been corrupted through a Quebec government pension fund, government policy, for these folks to break the law, and they suffered no consequence. It's the same in immigration, where we have government saying, oh, these people don't exist, just like SNC-Lavalin. Corruption does not exist. Sorry?
Ghost workers.
Ghost workers. Everything, SNC was ghost corruption. Ghost work, everything is ghost.
Well, before we go down the road of making allegations and accusations that some people will say have not been proven in court, can I just tell everybody, the whole issue that our articles have been pointing to is that SNC-Lavalin is not a stranger to these controversies because the World Bank has actually been doing investigations. The World Bank
has spoken.
Has not only that, they found guilt and applied measures.
And still Ottawa is surprised.
Well,
they're surprised about Lavalin, like they're surprised about undocumented. They got 1 million, 3% of the population is ghost. SNC-Lavalin, just shocked that they did what they did. The point here is our demonstration is there as a result of the frustration of government seeing. Remember Sergeant Schultz, Hogan's Hero? I know nothing. I see nothing.
A lot of the people watching now don't know that. But what they do know is that there were members of Parliament some 3 years ago with the then former Minister of Immigration, John McCallum. The ill-fated ambassador to China.
There's another situation.
They had made a commitment. I wasn't there when they did. I saw all the videos. I read all of their press releases. They made a commitment to resolve this undocumented workers issue, to try to settle all of these people on a one-on-one basis, on merit.
That's right.
And the current minister walked away from those commitments. After 6 months, walked away from them.
Not only did he walk, it's okay to walk away. It's okay to say, you know what? I changed my mind. We don't want to follow that process. But what he did with the approval of Jerry Butts, whoever that is, and whoever other his masters were, the minister said that McCallum never did anything. The MPs never did. It never happened.
Well, of course that's not true, and I don't like to talk about somebody who's not in a position to defend himself.
Get them in here.
Just a minute. We have made an invitation to the minister's office and other members of Parliament. They have a standing invitation. They can come here at any time. We're going to tire of
and that's
asking
why
them.
the demonstration, Joe, because it appears that in Ottawa only two things count: money and bodies, votes. And
perhaps.
What do you mean perhaps? It's gone with in light of your article today, how can you say that?
Well, I can say things that I've researched, and I'm pretty confident about the things that I say. But, on Thursday, we're talking about people whose level of frustration is now so high that they're going to appeal not to the government of Ottawa,
That's right.
but they're going to the government in Ontario.
That's right.
If there's a politicization of the event.
That is politicization.
Okay, well, you know that I
know where you're coming from.
Some people will say that I'm sympathetic to another political brand. We're a journal, a daily, so we try to deal with the issues. What strikes me as odd, and maybe you can tell me, is that these people who have been frustrated for 3 years because the government that they believed in and the members of Parliament who advocated the government position no longer seems to be listening to them, and they've gone to a provincial government that doesn't have the authority to do anything about this.
That's simply not true. That is nonsense.
Really?
Yeah. Under the Constitution, the provincial government can tell Ottawa, just like every other province except Ontario, every other province sits down with Ottawa and says, here's the type of workers we want in the country. Here's a certificate to show this is the guy we want a visa to go to.
Let's call it a PNP program.
PNP program. Every province has a good PNP program to get who it wants into the country, except Ontario.
Well, but Ontario...
And you know that better than anybody, because you're the father of the PNP program in Ontario.
Oh, we're going to have to take... what do they call that?
Opportunity testing.
Right. Well, let's say I know something about it. The government of Ontario, like all provincial governments, is a partner in immigration. Immigration is a shared jurisdiction between
That's
the
right.
province and the federal government, whatever that province may be.
Would you want Ottawa as a partner? You got to dictate to those guys.
Well, look, I have an approach, obviously, in style that's a little bit different. But
Well,
what you're telling me,
Why do we have 500,000 illegal workers, undocumented workers in Ontario?
well, like I
if
could
the
scratch my
partnership
head on
worked?
that. I can scratch my head on
Well,
that. But you're telling me,
scratching doesn't cut it anymore, Joe. That's why the demonstration, and that's why the appeal to Doug Ford to get tough with Ottawa.
so in other words, this group is demonstrating at Queen's Park to get Doug Ford to tell his counterpart in Ottawa that the interests of Ontario are best served by regularizing the people who have already been
That's
here
right.
and have demonstrated who they are.
Trudeau is costing Ford $5 billion a year in taxes by seeing only ghost workers. Ford needs subways built. Do ghosts build subways?
Well, the construction industry says it doesn't. It can't come up with the numbers to build subways or to build the residences that are being projected in the GTA.
The demonstration is there to simply draw the line for once and say, Ottawa is the land of Oz.
Well, let me
It's
be
not
provocative.
real.
Let me be provocative. There's at least one major union in labor and trades industry that prides itself on saying we're the power, feel the power, etc.
Sure.
Okay, you know which one that is.
Yeah.
But they have 58,000 members.
Half of them are undocumented.
Well, I don't know whether that's the number, but why wouldn't they be putting a lot of pressure on both Queen's Park and Ottawa?
You know,
It seems to me that it falls into their self-interest to do so.
you know, you should ask them. Not only the unions, but the unions at the end of the day are a money-making proposition. All businesses, and I don't say that in derogatory terms.
No, I understand it, but theirs is a business that's centered on the availability of labor to capitalize on an opportunity.
The unions in the construction sector have filled a void created by the collapse of our apprenticeship system and our training system and our legitimate immigration system. Government has failed with apprenticeships. They've failed with school training for the trades. They've failed with an immigration program. The work permit system is a joke.
And
the unions have come in and they filled the void. The next question is, why aren't they supporting, why have they not lobbied for a stronger legal immigration regime? There are reasons for that.
But you know, we've only got a minute left. We're not going to be able to go through them. I'm going to challenge
Sure.
you on something, and maybe you can tell me in really a few seconds. But you know, 4 of the items that you talked about, 3 related to the province and the apprenticeships, that's a cultural thing. You're not going to see a change in that overnight, but you can see a change virtually overnight on immigration.
Joe, I'm tired of hearing that apprenticeship is a cultural matter.
No, it means that in order for you to develop a concept through the school system.
Concept, schmoncept. When Doug Ford a couple of months ago faced reality, when he lowered the rules before on a job site, there had to be between 4 to 5 to 6, depending on the trade, skilled trades Canadian people to train one young apprentice. Ford made it 1-to-1. That is reality.
Where is he going to get it? Well, this is my point. Where is he going to get them when you don't produce them out of the schools, you don't produce them out of society? You get them from an immigration system that's collapsed.
You think that these undocumented workers coming from Europe are all skilled tradespeople? That a lot of them are shoe salesmen and farmers who learn their trade on Canadian job sites.
Okay,
if we can train the European shoe salesmen and farm workers, we can't train our Canadian kids?
Okay, so now we're getting down to the end. The issue has been, as we said, about the government acting against people who have been trained, who have a job, who are working in this country, who have developed families,
Joe,
like the Dimitri, for example.
The demonstration is about one thing. Ignore Ottawa. They've had 40 years to clean up the mess. They just create more problems for whatever the reasons. Forget them. They're a pain in the neck. We got to go with the jurisdiction that deals with job reality, construction reality, union reality, employer reality.
So good luck. All I can tell you is that Thursday is going to be a cold day, and I'm happy that people are still committed to building society to such an extent
The
that
committee
they're
will
getting
never give up.
that they're getting out of their
With
houses
that evangelical
to go,
fervor now, I can tell you,
that
they
they
ain't
can
going to
go
give up.
and demonstrate outdoors in front of the Premier's office and get his attention in order to get Ottawa to move.
Yeah.
So I compliment them for doing it. You know, we might even send somebody down there to cover that event. Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Borax, for being part of this debate. It is a debate. It's a tough debate.
One,
Yeah,
if I could just sort of throw this out. So it's on Thursday from 1 till 3 at Queen's Park.
I noticed you covered your face when you did that.
Well,
1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, Queen's Park. This is Joe Volpe, publisher Corriere Canadese for Go Live TV, Corcan Media Group,
Sir.
with Richard Borax, who is counsel to the undocumented
fine
workers,
people.
bidding you a thank you and see you at the very next opportunity. Ciao.